Hey, good afternoon, folks. How's it going? And a little bit further into this project. So we've got these patches of hot glue on here, and it's really hard. Like once it dips below a certain temperature, it's well hard enough. If you're gonna do this and you're using your boat in a lake scenario and you don't have a lot of rocks and stuff to deal with, and the dragging is really minimal, you could probably get away with just doing this. Now, I have a service truck over here, and something that they do in the heavy duty service industry is called hard facing. So on, like a Caterpillar bucket, like a plow or a bulldozer or any of that kind of stuff on the bucket, that'll get worn in across the face on the teeth, right? So what they do is they call it hard facing. They use a welding rod that's significantly harder than the base metal, and then they just weld basically strips. You can do whatever you want. You can make little faces if you want, doesn't matter. It's just an extra little bit of meat to wear in on. So you could probably just hard face this if you're in normal situations, but if you're kind of like me and really abusing this thing and in rivers and everything else, I think I actually found a solution that's going to work now. So this is your average crazy carpet or magic carpet, and I already looked and they list this as a HPDE plastic. So that being said, we already know that the plastics are compatible, and we've already talked about welding a large chunk of this into the hull, and how that could actually be a little bit dangerous unless you've got really good equipment and you can really control the heat, right? So you could do that. You could actually, these are thin enough that you could easily probably put these right into the plastic on the hull, and then you'd be completely seamless in theory. I don't want to take that chance, but what I'm thinking I'm going to do here, of course I got a couple of different kinds of glue sticks there, because one's heavy duty, the other one's general purpose. The heavy duty says it's stronger online, and the general purpose says that it actually has a better bond. So I'm not sure. I think in this case we want the better bond. As long as we don't have huge lips, then there shouldn't be a huge strength issue, right? So what I think I can do after I do a test run of this on here, which I'm pretty positive is going to work out, right? Because we already know this is HDPE, and we know these glue sticks work for HDPE. The Gorilla Glue sticks, I just saw a review on Project Farm, and they're really not as good as I thought they were. Big surprise. Hype, right? So what I'm thinking here, first of all, this is not the end that I'm more concerned about. I have hit things with that, but and there are some fairly good gouges on that front bit. But what I actually tend to wear down more often or more frequently is that back end as I'm dragging it up, right? So I pick up the front by the handles, and then I drag that back a little bit. So with the heat gun, I'm going to, there we go, deform this, melt it into shape, and then hot glue it to there. And I'm going to do that as nicely as I can to avoid seams. All right. So I will take some video of that and get that up online once I've got it formed. I think now I've got some ideas of tips. Like, I'd only thought about this after I had started, right? So in thinking things through, I have some better ideas about it than how I'm going to proceed right now. For one, I would not apply your hot glue repairs before you form the sheet. The reason being is that as you form the sheet, if it's hot glued, it could get messy, right? You could wind up having a bunch of cleanup and pain in the ass. So I would avoid that. Two, you're going to want to get a de-static agent. Now, you can buy that from a body shop supply place, like, even Napa probably has it. But I think you can probably make one, like a do-it-yourself spray. And all de-static agent, I don't know how well we can see this, but there's like dog hair all over this just from being in the truck coming home. And I have worked in a body shop, and I can tell you that is a big problem. So when you're dealing with paints and stuff like that, but we still want the best bond possible. We don't want a bunch of dust and hair in between, right? So, yeah, an anti-static spray would be the other thing. And then, so yeah, form this without the glue on there. Get that all ready and shaped out. And then use an anti-static spray before you actually try and apply it. Oh, right. And so if you are in a lake, what you could do, like if you're not going to be hitting the river, and I was actually, this is what I was going to do, and then suddenly I thought, wait a minute, what are magic carpets made out of? And it turns out to be the right stuff, so, or well, close enough that the hot glue should work. But what you could do, if you just were in a lake and you didn't want to go through this, you could hard face just your keels here. These are keels, right? I mean, they're all keels, I think. I don't know. I'm kind of new to boats. But you could hard face just your keels, and I would go maybe to about here. You know, use some tape, make it nice. You don't have to fill in here. You're still going to want to trim them edges down and then use the gun to smooth it out. That's for sure. And then hard face this. And I don't know if I'm going to do this with the green strip or if I'm going to hard face it, but that's what you go. Oh, and so the reason that I decided to do this is that I'm not concerned too much about this glue wearing off. It will wear down a little bit if you're dragging it, but it's actually pretty solid on there. Like, I'm not too worried about that. And even if it did, you could reapply it really easily. And the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, right? Maybe you'll have a design or a pattern. But the actual reason that I decided that maybe I want to have something on top there, and I was originally thinking like an enamel paint, was that if you're dragging it beyond just a couple feet to your truck, if you're actually like going a little bit of a distance and things start to warm up, the hot glue will get a bit tacky. And if the hot glue gets tacky, then you might start having issues with dirt sticking in it or it trying to peel off or this or that. So I just figured if it has a layer over it and it gets tacky, once it cools off, it just bonds the layer a little bit better, right, every time. And then, of course, these are pretty easy to get. You could replace it every year. Now, I have seen these crack. I'm sure we've all seen, like, thin plastic stuff just crack. But I think once it's in place, it should be pretty good. I'm not going to do any abrasion tests on it because we already know kind of what this stuff could do. My other option was to use buckets and chop them up and then, you know, lay them out, butt weld them together and have that. But that would create a fair lip. You know, a bucket has got to be at least 3 times that thick. This, on the other hand, has got to be about the same thickness as the green layer in the Ram X, I think. Just like from playing around with it and looking at this, it's probably really close. So you're basically just doubling up on your hull protection. So there you go. I will post that up once I have some progress on this and I have these formed out, because no doubt there'll be some surprises and lessons. And thanks for watching.